Tonight on America, the Conversation, Tucker Carlson has been fired from Fox News. In a related story, pigs now fly and hell has reportedly frozen over. All this and more tonight on America, the Conversation. Well, America, the man-child who off and on had the number one show on television that was, at the same time, the worst show on television, a man whose hair and dress code would suggest he is a 6-year-old perpetually dressed for Easter Sunday, the man who made testicle tanning mainstream to the entire incel community, the man whose laugh sounds like a witch cackling as they eat your puppy, America's premier M&M fetishist, one of the most successful fascist propagandists since Goebbels. America, I'm sad to say that something you're well aware of at this point because it dominated the news cycle all last week. Tucker Carlson has been fired by Fox News. I'm Tim Philippi, one of your hosts of America the Conversation, and with me as always is Andrew Turner. Andrew, how sad are you right now?
If I could put time in a bottle. That's all we can afford.
That's all we can afford. I don't even think we can afford that. I don't know what song that is, so you know what? We're safe from the licensing.
It's called Time in a Bottle.
Yeah, I assumed. Yeah, okay, there you go. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, boy.
I'm great, man. This is awesome. I mean, good.
I mean,
Fuck
yeah.
him.
Well, that's what we're talking about. Like, right? Fuck him, or is it like? Is it gonna backfire to them? Like, is he going to? My worry here that Tucker has been fired. Not that I mentioned to Andrew earlier today that my wild card prediction is he runs for president now. Don't think Andrew talked me off the bridge on that one. He's not going to do it, but he would in 2028. And I don't think he would have done that if he would still been at Fox News. Now, I'm not saying he didn't deserve to be fired from Fox News for the many more horrible things he said than just now making fun of executives. I think was what ended up doing him in. Like, he insulted some folks. But at the end of the day, like, he's a Trump that can, I think, work and get it. I don't think Trump will win this next time, but I think Tucker could win in 28. Like, and that's that I think he could beat AOC, kind of a thing. I'd never even thought about Tucker running. That thought never crossed my mind, not once. What do you think, Andrew?
I mean, I definitely think. Oh, thanks, me.
Yeah, you, Andrew. Not
okay.
Not no one else. The ghosts that live in my house.
yeah, the ghost of JFK that chills at my place.
Mm-hmm.
Well, boys, I think the Tucker Carlson.
He would hate Tucker Carlson. That man already hated the press in the first place. He would fucking hate Tucker Carlson. I
can tell you one thing about Tucker, and that's he's a real fucker. We do not hate Tucker Carlson because it is hard. We hate him because it's easy.
Yeah.
No, I think that I've always been worried that Tucker could make a run for the presidency. Yes, I think that he is, like you stated in the intro, the premier fascist propagandist in our country. Do I think he'll be as successful as you're predicting? I don't know. I think it's hard to predict presidential politics. I can't be in his mind. Mm-hmm. And I certainly don't know what the pressure would do to him. Like, I haven't seen him on stage in a debate or like be put under scrutiny by the press. I don't think that he has that Teflon thing that Donald Trump has. I think very few people do in history. But, I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know. I think that I am going to bask in the present moment. You see, Tim, in Western philosophy, we have this idea of a finality, that all things are building towards something, whether that be a heaven or a hell or an accomplishment that you want or a relationship you need. I'm going to take an Eastern mindset with this. I'm going to say this is the moment that I presently exist in, and it's a good moment because millions of people that are over the age of 55 won't get brain worms from Tucker Carlson anymore. They may get slightly less digestible brain worms from Sean Hannity or Laura Ingraham or something like that, but they will not get the premier hog feed that is Tucker Carlson tonight. And this man has done irreparable damage to a majority of our parents and grandparents.
With each and every sentence he says on the air, it's a pick of a poison pen into every single baby boomer and, just anybody who, I don't know, just anybody who falls for it. And it's very easy. Like I was listening to the Daily today while I was preparing for this episode, just because they did a really good bit on him and put stuff in perspective that I had not thought about when thinking of him. Like I am often scared that I could fall for propaganda somehow on accident, because I'm a sucker for a good marketing ad. Like if you make me laugh, great, I will buy you T-Mobile. I'm not on T-Mobile, so fuck you T-Mobile, but nothing against T-Mobile. Please don't not carry our
T-Mobile,
show
if you want to sponsor.
If you want to sponsor us, actually no,
love T-Mobile.
Honest to God, been thinking about it, because Verizon, you do suck, so fuck you, Verizon. But
you want to know a secret? They all suck.
They all suck. They're all terrible. They're all a cartel. But with Tucker, you had explained this to me before, but it never really, it was so dumb. It didn't really make sense to me. And it was actually kind of Tucker himself who was explaining it to him through clips on this episode of the great replacement theory, this terrible racist idea that is the craziest thing I've ever heard. And Tucker said all this. I'm like, in my head, I'm thinking, God, what a fucking incel. And then a guy who's talking said, well, this is this racist theory that he touts about, the replacement theory, that we're bringing in immigrants to pad the vote, basically, on the Democratic side.
I think it's more than that. It's to replace the culture,
and to replace the culture too.
It's that we're bringing in people that inherently, and this is his opinion and the idea and the theory. I do not subscribe to this at all. It's a horrible racist
fuck.
Let me put it this way. Tucker pulls out the oldies and the goodies. He's a man who's read the Protocols of the Elders of Zion. He's a man who's read ancient, czarist anti-Semitic writing. He's a man who's probably picked up Mein Kampf a couple times.
A couple. More than once.
He had to reread it. He didn't just skim it.
Parts he missed.
I don't really remember that chapter. But
what was that struggle again?
What struggle was that? Anyways, I think that. Which, by the way, Trump should definitely release a book if he gets arrested.
He allegedly keeps a copy next to his goddamn
I don't know
desk.
about that, but I believe it just out of fun. I will say that Tucker pulls out that old school shit, right? And great replacement theory is a old racist trope that the Nazis and the anti-Semitic Tsarist regime in Russia used before them. That is the idea that in Western European countries, liberals, leftists, communists will bring in people from other nations that are of different lower class or races and nations and incomes. And that will hurt the country because those people are obviously worse than the white good Christians who live here now. And they will use those dumb, not white people to boost their voting numbers and take control of the government and install a communist, democracy. They now say cultural Marxism. The term was Bolshevik Marxism before. And, it was Jewish Bolshevism before that. Yeah. So it all comes from the same theory that it is very anti-Semitic and nowadays just plain racist in general, that the left wing of any given country is trying to take over the political system by allowing immigration. Now, what we actually see is that when people immigrate here, they culturally adapt better in America than probably any other nation in the history of modern history. Yeah. I mean, we are very Roman in that way. If you show up and, you have a kid, that kid is going to be American for all intents and purposes culturally. Yeah. They definitely are born here, of course, but it's citizenship wise. But I mean, culturally, people quickly lose their old culture. In fact, it's something that I think a lot of immigrants try to preserve in their kids.
Absolutely.
But the racist idea that these people, because of where they come from, are inherently worse than the average white person that lives in, Dallas, Fort Worth, or Boston, is what really fuels the idea that this is a bad thing, that immigrants are coming. Now, the truth is every
the caravan.
major,
I mean, they talked about the caravan on Fox for forever. Like it was this terrible, like it was like the boogeyman for them for forever. Like I mean, for 2 years.
Like, the 2018 midterms were all about the caravan. Yeah, and that never showed. You know,
it never showed. Really, and then the people that did show up, they put them in goddamn cages. So that just shows you
refugees.
Refugees. Refugees showed up, and we put them in cages.
Not even people looking for work, like migrant workers. Like these were people who were escaping communities that were riddled by drugs that we pay for in America.
That would be killed if they went back, kind of a thing.
Yeah, that are run by gangs that we finance through those drugs and get weapons, by the way. I believe it's over 70% of weapons in Mexico, and I'm sure down south where even poorer countries, it's even more so, weapons from the United States. Like we are the number one manufacturer of weapons in the world, like let alone in the Western Hemisphere. And like we are directly causing a lot of those problems that are driving people here through American imperialism. And then we choose to put them in cages and then send them back to oftentimes certain death instead of taking them in. Unlike what we propose to be, which is a nation of immigrants, a nation that holds a torch at the coast and says, please bring me your poor, you're tired, you're hungry, those yearning to be free. We instead act like any other right-wing fascist nation and say, get the fuck out, find your own way to find the American dream and somewhere that's not America.
And that's
and we need these people, by the way. We need these people. Like we
absolutely
are having a lower birth rate in the United States, just like every other Western country. And immigration has been our key to that throughout our history, to boost up those numbers, to keep our economy flowing, to get people, as horrible as this is, it's the truth, to do low-wage jobs because Americans won't do them half the time. Yeah. Like, I don't see anybody that we in our peer group going out and picking the tomatoes that we all eat and cleaning the hotels that we stay at. Like that's done by a lot of immigrants, whether they come from the Americas or India or Africa or even parts of Europe, you know, especially in the Caucasus and Eastern Europe. Like we have used immigration as the underbelly, the backbone of our economy for years. And he's propagating this theory that is historically racist out of soul fear-mongering and culture war.
I had
to get the old white people angry and scared.
I had a youth pastor growing up tried to, and I might have mentioned it just to you or might have mentioned on the show, my apologies if I already have, but like he said, it was trying to convince me that immigration, we should get rid of immigration because if we do, those low-wage jobs will become high-wage jobs. Like, wouldn't you want to be a janitor for $15 an hour? I'm like, well, no, I don't want to be one for at least 20 first. But like, also, it sounded just so dumb and racist. Like that was like, like I know so many immigrant folks. I'm like, I'm married to an immigrant. Like this is. You aren't going to win me over. And Tucker, for that matter, is the one who not only propagates this theory, but he more or less grew the clout to order shit like this to happen, to send people back. Like there was an issue where, not an issue, he had Greg Abbott on his show and started chastising him. And like, why aren't you sending people to the border to take care of this border crisis? Blah, 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 blah. Sure enough, like a week or two later, Greg Abbott's sending troops to the border. He did the same thing with DeSantis, where he said, like, you know, like liberals want immigrants so much. Why don't we just go send them a bunch? And Martha's Vineyard always says that they don't have any immigrants. Guess who sent a bunch of fucking immigrants up to goddamn Martha's Vineyard? Ron DeSantis. Like, they more or less take his orders. They've taken orders from Fox for years. Like,
Fox was designed in its very basis by Rupert Murdoch and eventually Roger Ailes and may he rest in piss.
Rest in piss, specifically. Enunciate. Enunciation is key.
Piss. P-I-S-S.
Not peace. Piss. Maybe a piece of shit. Rest in a piece of shit like a pillow.
Right.
Maybe,
like
but
using
a hard
shit
pillow.
As a my pillow.
Yeah. My pillow.
It was originally designed in its concept to be a way to be a mouthpiece for the Republican Party and to unify the party behind talking points, right? Like it was always supposed to be the alternative to any straight type of news and instead be just a wing of the Republican Party, which it has succeeded in a way that no propaganda wing, in American history has ever done before. Tucker is a continuation of that. Tucker is just a reflection of the base. He's the man of the time. Fox News, I'm sure, is trying to get more on the classical Republican, bandwagon now. But they had their lowest ratings after they got rid of Tucker since before 9/11. Fox did. And I know what those people did. They went to Newsmax, they went to OWN, they went onto the Daily Wire, and they're going to keep getting fed this drivel of QAnon conspiracy theories. Like Tucker, and it's that clip that I think we have a copy of at some point in the episode.
You can.
He talks about what he becomes. I mean, he's talking about Bill O'Reilly in this clip, audience, and this is like 2003, 2004, 2005-ish. And he
looks really like a small boy. Like I mentioned him looking like a schoolboy for church earlier. He looks like a straight up cherub. We'll put a link in the description too, but here's the clip.
Eviest little cherub. Yeah, but let me set up this clip a little bit more. He is talking about the shtick that Bill O'Reilly is doing to trick Fox News viewers. And what is interesting is it becomes Tucker's shtick more than it ever was O'Reilly's. And you can hear it right here.
From your book, Bill O'Reilly's success is built on the perception that he really is who he claims to be. If he ever gets caught out of character, it's over.
That's right. I say before that Bill O'Reilly's really talented. He's more talented than I am. He's got a lot more viewers than I do. He's a better communicator than I am. But I think there's kind of a deep phoniness at the center of his shtick. And again, as I say, the shtick is sort of built on this perception that he is the character he plays. He is every man. This kind of he's not right wing. He's a populist. This kind of Irish Catholic populist fighting for you against the powers that be. And that's great as a shtick, but I'm just saying the moment that it's revealed not to be true, it's over. The moment he gets caught, slapping a flight attendant on the Concorde for not bringing his champagne fast enough, or barking at, one of his subordinates to take the, brown M&Ms out of my bowl and get me a bottle of Evian, or something like that. The second that makes Page 6, it's over, right? Because the whole thing is predicated on the fact that he is who he says he is. And just nobody is that person, especially not someone who makes $1 million, or many millions a year.
So the funny thing about all that is that he's literally describing what he would do 10 years later, right? The idea of being a populist over being a Republican necessarily. The idea of riling up the base and speaking to the average Joe. This is the here of a Swanson fortune. Like, he's one of the richest men to ever be handed money.
Still blows my mind. But
in media.
like groceries, huh? All right.
Yeah, and he's talking about how O'Reilly is doing a shtick to represent the common man and then drinking champagne with liberals every weekend. That was Tucker. Tucker was doing that now for the last 10 years while he was on Fox News since 2016. And I think that shtick is the shtick that, Donald Trump played to. This idea that like the everyman, like somehow a billionaire from New York reality TV show host real estate agent was going to be the everyman. And I think that as much as it is silly, and we can look and be like, how bullshit is that? It worked.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No,
it's working. It's working now. Like,
he's
Tucker
good at his job.
An audience still.
Yeah. He's gonna have and that's what I'm kind of worried about here. Like, well, we were talking I think a week ago after this kind of happened, where I don't know if it was one of our friends or you, but said that like, they lost $500 million in market value like the day after, right? So in a way that can look like, and maybe I'm an idiot who doesn't understand finance, but I'm pretty sure I get this. It means he's kind of worth $500 million. And
I mean, bad when number go down.
Huh?
That's what I know about economics.
It's bad when number go down. Yeah, exactly.
When number go down, continuous growth is the only way to run an economy.
That's the only thing that is ever going to happen. It's not like things can bounce back. But it's not like how the 401k system's built on. It's fucking so dumb.
It's almost like we shouldn't be worried about profit and shareholder gain as a main function. Yeah.
But still though, the worry here is that gives him a price tag potentially of $500 million. Now, no, Newsmax and OAN, especially OAN, I think they specifically, and maybe Newsmax did too, they got dropped by Spectrum, so they're just like, cut the legs off of him. But if one of them were to be able to afford him,
lawsuits too.
Yeah, exactly. Worse than Fox. But they can say, yeah, we'll sign you for that amount, 500 million, maybe 100 million, something like that over the course of 5 years, and hopefully they bring in enough revenue to be able to afford it. Like the Canon Film style thing. If you're a bad movie fan, like you make the poster, you sell the movie, and then you hope for profit, and you might fail, and you usually do fail with a methodology like that. So I'm not too worried about that, because Newsmax, I mean, is a joke. Like, Tim,
what if we used the insurance money and we ensured that the film would actually fail?
That is called fraud. Isn't that the producers?
Yes, I just described the plot of the producers, which, by the way, you and I would make great.
Oh, I would
main in those. Yeah.
Speaking of things that like contain Hitler.
I could pull off Nathan Lane's part real well if I shaved. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Give me.
And you could do Broderick all day.
Easy.
Like, if you shaved.
I love that. I've seen that movie so many times.
I think we need to do one night performance of the producers sometime in our life.
Yeah, we're gonna be doing a few cool performances like that, so stay tuned to the America the Podcast Presents channel on YouTube. He could. I don't know where he's gonna go. I think he's gonna podcast it like Bill O'Reilly did, or AM radio.
No.
Well, AM radio is what Bill O'Reilly did. You don't think he's gonna he's already gone a podcast, but that was a Fox podcast.
You were
talking
so about profit. None of us know what the Daily Wire or Mug Club with Crowder, like what their profit
is. That's his company, Mug Club.
That's his like personal thing. Yeah, the Mug Club.
Damn, that's dumb. Oh wow.
Also, he yells at his pregnant wife to pick up toxic chemicals. That came out yesterday. Ring video of him doing that.
Wow,
he's a great dude.
That's whatever. Mug Club, objectively worse than the chemical thing.
Shout out to good friend of the cast, Steven Crowder.
Oh no, not even in a joking manner do you say that.
That being said, no, I think a lot of these entities they're not worried about profit, right? Because they have someone like Charles Koch or Dennis Prager funding.
Yeah.
So like he doesn't need to find a profitable way to do this. He just needs to get some billionaire that's like, keep spewing your hate rhetoric, and I'll pay you, let's say, $30 million a year.
Sure. Yeah. He can just have whatever is like located. Yeah. It can be it could just be a YouTube show.
And he
can go full
$10 million on a staff. Yeah. Staff and cameras and a set. And
hopefully better lighting than he had in that video is.
Oh my God. Like you said, like millionaire sauna energy.
Yeah. Go watch it. Well, don't. It's only on his Twitter, so don't give it a view.
He doesn't say anything in it. It's just vaguely fascist.
You know what? I'll throw it in here. Why not? Because understand what his cryptic weird message was, that he'll be back, or there's lots of nice people and there's lots of bad people. Kind of sounding like Trump. Anyways, listen.
Good evening, it's Tucker Carlson. One of the first things you realize when you step outside the noise for a few days is how many genuinely nice people there are in this country. Kind and decent people who really care about what's true, and a bunch of hilarious people also, a lot of those. It's got to be the majority of the population, even now. So that's heartening. The other thing you notice when you take a little time off is how unbelievably stupid most of the debates you see on television are. They're completely irrelevant. They mean nothing. In 5 years, we won't even remember that we had them. Trust me, as someone who's participated. And yet at the same time, and this is the amazing thing, the undeniably big topics, the ones that will define our future, get virtually no discussion at all. War, civil liberties, emerging science, demographic change, corporate power, natural resources. When was the last time you heard a legitimate debate about any of those issues? It's been a long time. Debates like that are not permitted in American media. Both political parties and their donors have reached consensus on what benefits them, and they actively collude to shut down any conversation about it. Suddenly, the United States looks very much like a one-party state. That's a depressing realization, but it's not permanent. Our current orthodoxies won't last. They're brain dead. Nobody actually believes them. Hardly anyone's life is improved by them. This moment is too inherently ridiculous to continue, and so it won't. The people in charge know this. That's why they're hysterical and aggressive. They're afraid. They've given up persuasion. They're resorting to force. But it won't work. When honest people say what's true, calmly and without embarrassment, they become powerful. At the same time, the liars who've been trying to silence them shrink, and they become weaker. That's the iron law of the universe. True things prevail. Where can you still find Americans saying true things? There aren't many places left, but there are some, and that's enough. As long as you can hear the words, there is hope. See you soon.
So yeah, that was weird. And again, looking at it again, that weird sauna that he lives
As
in.
long as you're listening to me, Tim, the light will not go out. I am the Messiah.
I am the right.
I am the truth.
I am the Lord your God.
The way. There is
The
no
truth
other
and the
way
life.
except Tucker. People are saying this, and I'm answering the question. Yeah.
I am people. Me people.
Me.
Me people, Tucker.
I have no idea of other people's permanence and exist
my
in a
God.
psychopathic way where only I exist within the universe.
Like it then truly kind of that you hit the nail on the head with that one. Like I long for the day when we look back and say, which I will be long dead because of the way the world is, that this is a time when they will look back and say, we let psychopaths run the world, that we let them influence the world, like people that should rightfully need mental health help. Like all psychopaths they need help. Like Tucker needs help. He needs to go to an institution. I'm not a doctor. I can't diagnose him for that, but I don't know, when you're in front of people all day, every day,
I got an institution
5 days
for
a
him.
week.
It's called a gulag. Anyways.
Yeah, sure. War crimes for sure. But like,
it's called re-education.
Yeah, for real. That's so. Let's get to like when it happened and like so why we haven't heard much from him. One Lachlan, I think that's how you pronounce it. One of the Rupert Murdoch kids. Basically, him and some folks decided on Friday it was going to happen, and then 10 minutes before they announced it on Monday, that's when they told him. Like he didn't know. He was just coming into work, ready to call people the C word and make sex jokes about Nancy Pelosi and someone else, like doing all these terrible things, which I'm going to get to in a second. But
was that Kendall Roy or Siobhan Roy?
Me and Alana were looking at it. It's not Siobhan. I think it's Kendall. But I think Kendall might have left the company already.
Yeah, I think the Kendall equivalent hates his dad.
So
like he's a big liberal.
Oh, Kendall. Okay, in this universe, Kendall hates his dad, and Roman. Oh, no, yeah, Roman is the one already late. Okay, never mind.
It lines up pretty well.
So okay. So I think Roman fired Tucker Carlson. If I'm getting my people right,
weirdly in a chair and like made a quick quip, and then was like, he was like, "Listen, Tuck, you're fucked. Don't know what to tell you."
Right. Yeah. But 10 minutes before that made me laugh so much. But apparently
they had ads for that night. They had ads for that night for Tucker that morning. Yeah.
His last show was about like people eating bugs, or like, are your children eating bugs? It was a real like silly thing, and that was the last words he ever said on Fox News. But I wish I could clip that in, but I can't because I'm not getting caught up with their lawyers. Fuck that. Well, I don't know. They might settle with me. Who knows? Like.
Yeah, at this point, they probably pay us.
Yeah, they probably pay me to put Tucker's show on our show. Yeah. But no, he apparently it was
that's all we need is the audience to be like, they're funded by Fox.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like they're just a bunch of fake liberals. Like, no.
Bunch of K-Hive like Kamala Harris stands like commenting on our thing. Like, we know what you're really trying to do. You're right-wing plants.
Yeah,
you
right.
socialist right-wingers.
No. Also, if you're a Kamala Harris fan, like get someone.
I mean, I get it, but also like I don't get it.
Sure, she's cool, but she's also dumb. Nothing. She's kind of a cop. She's a DA. But
she's a cop.
Okay, she's a cop. Fine.
She ordered parents to be arrested for their kids being truant.
I know.
She's a cop.
Yeah, that's no. I'd let that not ever be forgotten that Kamala Harris did that, but that's not the point for today. But no, what was happening with him?
She's a great VP. She's fine.
She's great, and that's my issue is that she's like.
I mean, that's all you have to be a great VP. That's all you have to do to be a great VP.
You could. The job needs to be more to that job. It's such a waste. It's a waste of money, a waste of a person's time to be a heartbeat, whatever.
I think the president shouldn't be able to fire nuclear missiles without the vice president.
Absolutely, 100%. And there needs to be a second person there, not to mention a third.
The idea that one person can just push a button when they knock over their Diet Coke because they're angry one morning sounds bad.
Mm-hmm. Oh God, no, Lord! I hope that is not how that works.
I mean, that was always my complaint about Trump like that made him more dangerous than anything else is I am worried that one day he will just like push the button to prove a point.
Right. Yeah, no, I know. And with Tucker's help, he might get that chance. Hopefully he won't, if we can keep him off the air. And if hopefully, then this is why I'm hoping if he does run for president, he won't, because of all the shit that not only Fox, just other people have on him. Like, I mean, now saying horrible things. I
agree with you on that. Yeah.
That's not, that whatever, the grab him by the pussy line. There's things that Trump said that should have disqualified him. It didn't. But like Fox, like got him on, like apparently he would use the C word all the time with people like in the in the office, and make like before some Republican governor came on, they had like a mock debate on like who they'd rather sleep with, her or Gretchen Whitmer, and like all this just gross toxic masculinity, your cliche, what you would expect from this. But the thing that really got him was the fact that he basically made fun of executives on the board. That's what I really think did. Like, that's not a confirmed thing, but he did make fun of them. And they were the ones that saw those tweets and said like, oh, well, no, or not tweets, just text messages or something. But I
think the reason he got fired may be the same reason he doesn't run for president. I think there may be something worse out there.
There could be worse. Because Fox has a dossier
there's something
on him.
Bad out there. I think there's something real bad.
That's what came out right after.
It happened so suddenly.
Yeah.
It happened so suddenly. That's what makes me think that, like, it's not like Don Lemon where like his ratings had been sliding. And then
he said a bad thing on the air that was really dumb.
that the audience for his, his audience would care about. Like, Tucker's never said anything his audience really gives a shit about. That's bad. Like for them, not for them. Yeah. So I mean, like it's like
it's not like he made him look bad. Laura Ingraham made them look just as bad. Like Sean Hannity made them look just as bad. Like like fascist wise, like if you're like they're election deniers, like they didn't all get fired. They have to have something on him.
Something what unique about Carlson, and I'm sure other people talk shit about executives.
Let me say this real quick.
I'm sorry, but like. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just saying 8 different sources to whoever reported the dossier thing confirmed that this thing exists. So like that's enough for me to know that they've got a folder on him that hopefully he won't run, or if he does, they're like, okay, here you go, press, have fun. Like,
yeah, I mean, I don't think they will. I think they'd catch and kill it. But I think if anybody else found it through other means of investigation or journalism, like it would. I don't know. I don't think Tucker has. I don't think Tucker has the Teflon Don thing. I think that is something unique to Donald Trump. Like, I think it's his attitude.
Yeah.
Like, I think that attitude works if you truly like if you have no shame, it's hard to shame you. Like, I truly believe that. And I think Tucker does have shame. Like, otherwise he would have already ran for like Senate or House.
Yeah.
Like, I think Donald Trump is like pathologically incapable of like feeling like he was the one at fault. Right. Like, I don't think that he's ever felt that it was really his fault on anything that ever happened.
Yeah.
As opposed to Tucker, who, I'm not a doctor. I can't analyze these people.
Sure.
But I'm just saying that, like, and I'm not talking to them one-on-one. Even doctors can't do it from a TV. But I mean, like, I just don't see Tucker as almost, and I hate to use this word, but like cool as Donald Trump to like get away with it, like at ease. Yeah. Like he's a little nerd, right? Like he stopped wearing a bow tie because he stopped wearing a bow tie regularly because Jon Stewart made fun of him. Like that's literally the reason.
Oh, I always just see a bow tie on. I think my eyes just replace it. Like,
he did Crossfire for years on CNN with just the bow tie, and then Jon Stewart came on and decimated Crossfire. Like, just made fun of both of them, and they canceled the show like in a couple weeks.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So I mean, like, it's. I think that Donald Trump would never sit down for an interview with Jon Stewart. But if he did, he would try to be like, that's unfair, John. You're being crazy. You're being unfair, John. You're a good guy, but you're unfair. You're unfair to me. Like, Tucker would immediately be like, well, what do you mean? That's not what I meant. That's not what I said. Like, he's defensive. A debate lord. Like, Donald Trump is not a debate lord. Like, he's not like, this policy specifically affects these people. Like, he's a fucking grenade hurler. People try to juggle the grenades he throws at him when instead they should just duck and cover and throw a grenade back.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't think Tucker can handle the grenades.
No. Well, I don't think he could survive. Like, I mean, think about the people he would be debating potentially. Like, we've speculated it on here plenty of times, but like he would be debating AOC for sure. He would be debating if Elizabeth Warren's still alive, probably her. He would be debating Cory Booker. He would be debating like a slew of people. He'd be maybe debating Mark Cuban and lose. Like he would lose to all of those people who are easily smarter than him that could easily just.
I don't know about that. I think Tucker Carlson's probably smarter than Mark Cuban. I like Mark Cuban.
I don't know, man. Mark Cuban really said some maybe really he's a better debater. Like, huh?
Yeah.
No, I know Mark Cuban's just rich, but Mark Cuban like is.
No, he's a good businessman.
I'll defend him a little bit. Like he's a decent person, and he like. Everything interviews I've seen with him, like stuff I've read that he's written.
I think he's good for his class, right?
Sure.
Like he tries to be a good person. I believe that about Mark Cuban. I think his class probably alienates him and makes him like completely aloof to the average person's problems or how life works.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I do think Mark Cuban isn't politically as savvy as Tucker Carlson. Like I just
probably not. No, you're right.
But I will say that
but
either
people
way,
would prefer him though at the very least.
That's probably true. I'd vote for Mark Cuban over. I don't want to, but I would vote for him over Tucker.
People would prefer because Tucker's an asshole.
He's only going to debate one of those people.
Say that again.
You have to remember that he's only going to debate one of those people, whoever the nominee is.
That's true. Yeah. Okay. Well, then the Republicans that are going to go up against him,
he would beat most of them.
You think he would beat most? Well, yeah. Thinking about that, shit. I mean,
like Romney could take him on, but Romney's not going to run again.
No, he wouldn't. He's too old. He'll he'll be in his 80s, I think.
He doesn't want to be president anymore. He doesn't want to be.
He also, doesn't want to do it.
If you're a moderate Mormon, if you're a moderate or Mormon in the Republican Party, imagine trying to answer to your base while you constantly compromised with centrist Democrats. Because that's what Romney would do.
Yeah, he
would pass a bunch of big like infrastructure packages and pro oil, but also pro clean cars and like. He would pass all these an immigration bill that's probably bipartisan and still shit and kicks the can down the road 20 years. But he would get a lot of like mediocre shit done that centrist mediocre Democrats would be happy to sign on to.
Yeah.
And the base would hate him and he'd be a one-term president. Like there's just no way that like Romney can run the current Republican Party. But yeah,
I know one Republican that can beat him, Dwayne Johnson. The Rock's a Republican, technically.
That's gross. I don't like any of that.
I don't think he would run as one, but I think he could easily beat Tucker Carlson.
Yeah,
no, he wouldn't debate him well, but he would beat him.
Maybe. I don't know.
I would switch parties. No, I wouldn't do that.
There's once again, I mean, like we're trying to predict, where the grain of sand is going to fall in the desert. Like I think that.
I think it could happen.
We're not going to know.
As stupid as it sounds.
I mean, as general, could Tucker become president? Yes, as I've said on this podcast several times. Anyone that has money and name recognition,
he's got Swanson money at that too. So remember that.
Yeah, can do it, and he has infinite money from any donor. Like all he has to do is sway one donor, and then the more will come. So I mean, like, I don't know. Like, could Tucker handle the pressure? I don't know. Is there something out there that could sink his career? I don't know. Or sink his candidacy? I don't know. Does he even really want to be president or in any elected position at all?
He absolutely wants to be president.
I don't know. He might want to be more like a Stephen Miller, like a puppet behind the strings. I can see him being White House chief of staff.
Yeah.
Like for Trump. Like I can see Trump offering him a job like that. Like, but I mean, I think Tucker's a nerd. I think he cares about policy. It's just right-wing fascist policy.
Yeah, like, I mean, that's really where the power is, and he knows that. Yeah, you're right. Like he would be much more preferred just to write the crazy racist shit. He could actually get it done because he's, I'd say, more likable than Stephen Miller for sure, and maybe smarter. I don't know. Stephen's like that guy's
I've met
a
piles
nerd
of dog
about
shit.
being a racist.
I've met piles of dog shit that I liked more than Stephen Miller.
Yeah.
So.
Oh man. That's God. He's like your age. You know that, right? Stephen Miller.
Well, I mean, you can tell, but the dark side has physical effects.
Oh, I know. Yeah, it's pulled a Palpatine on him. It's really bad.
The balding and the yellow eyes.
Well, dude, and that's I've thought about that before. Like, man, does like hate really can age a person? Like, and I mean, case in point, him and like most people. There was one person was this horrible racist piece of shit. I don't know if they're an anchor or something. I looked at him like, oh God, like that. Well, not I didn't go oh God when I looked at them because they're just an old person. But when I found out that they were 50 and looked like they were 80, I was like, oh, hate does this.
It's why Winston Churchill looked 80 at 25 years old. Yeah.
Oh my God, did he? That's funny. Yeah, he sucked. Yeah,
look up Gallipoli sometime. Look up what Winston Churchill did to people.
Oh, I know plenty of what he did to people.
Also, there's a cool story from the Yalta Conference where Stalin and FDR and Churchill all met up to decide what they were going to do with Germany after they won the war.
Yeah,
it was a few months before, and at one point, like FDR goes, we'll just kill 50,000 of the officers, the German officers. And Stalin goes, 50,000, let's do 500,000. And Churchill freaked the fuck out and stormed out of the room. And they're literally were like, we're joking.
Wow.
But Churchill's like, these are good, honest German men. It's Hitler, that's the problem. Because Churchill was pretty right wing himself.
Yeah, no, I know, and not to mention the king at the time.
And essentially the king of Britain at the time.
The king.
And the king
left
was a Nazi.
before. He left in like the 30s. I don't remember when.
Yeah, he abdicated in the 30s.
Yeah, George didn't last that long after him. And then it was Elizabeth. Yeah. That doesn't matter.
And then Lizzie came around, and now Lizzie's in a box.
Lizzie's in a box. Lizzie's in a box. God bless the nation of Ireland.
1,000 times over, my friends. 1,000 times over. Well, one day you'll be one nation again.
Soon, like 2024 Star Trek is to be believed, which is kind of crazy that this is happening right now.
Hey, we're pro-unification in this podcast.
Absolutely pro-unification. But we're not pro Tucker Carlson, and
no, that's explicitly anti Tucker.
Yeah,
Carlson.
I think if you've heard anything today, you can come away with these guys maybe don't like Tucker Carlson.
Don't like Tucker. Don't like the Queen. Do like Ireland. Yes, that's what you should know about this podcast.
Moral of the story: just like be like Ireland and like the nation of Ireland.
No, the Irish have a cool prime minister that like looks like
a hobbit,
like a gnome,
like a gnome. Oh, like a gnome, yeah.
Like he looks like a gnome, and he has a cool little dog, and he seems very sweet. And like they have a beautiful nation, and they've been genocided by the English multiple times, and they make up a good part of my heritage. And you know what? One day I might just get the fuck out of this fucking dumpster fire and head over to the Great Emerald Isle.
It's all a dumpster fire, especially if we keep allowing him to keep going. Like I don't know how it could stop, but at least he's not on the air. Like like you said, let's the audience sit in this moment and enjoy the fact that Tucker. It's like when Roger Ailes died. It's like when Gorbachev does die, because he's still alive apparently.
Pizza Hut motherfucker.
And like when Tucker's
well, Henry Kissinger. You and I like
not Gorbachev. I'm sorry, Kissinger. Okay. I get their names mixed up.
Gorbachev sucks. Gorbachev sucks, but he's not Henry Kissinger. Henry Kissinger is arguably one of the most evil men.
Evil men, yes. Like, I don't know why I get their names mixed up. Because they're around at the same time. I know they dealt with each other. I don't know.
They both are gross old men.
Yeah, they're both horrible.
That killed thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people in order to advance their own political careers.
Yeah, so when he dies, that'll be nice. I don't want to wish death.
Trump's going to die in the next 10 to 15 years, probably.
Is he?
I do. I wish death on a lot of people, audience.
I mean, like, is it one of those things where he's eaten so many hamburgers that, like, that's like his body? That's just how it processes it now, and it's fine. And that's actually the secret to eternal life. Just eat one thing and one thing only.
This will be the second Succession reference, and not to spoil anything, but I think that
it's been long enough.
Old men can just drop dead.
Yeah.
And we should all keep that in mind. Yeah. Like they can look just as healthy as they ever were a day before, and then all of a sudden they can take too big of a poop and they have a heart attack and they're dead. Yep. So I mean, like, here's the deal. I struggle with depression, but one of the things I like to remember when I'm very sad is that one day I'm going to wake up and there's going to be a little ping on my phone, and it's going to say Donald Trump dead, Henry Kissinger dead. Like it's going to say Vladimir Putin dead. It's going to say some really great Mitch McConnell dead. And I'm going to sit up. I'm going to smile that day. No matter what's happening in my life, I'm going to smile and go, yeah. And listen to Crab Rave for the first thing that I do in the morning. And then I'm going to go get drunk.
Yeah. I know.
And that's exciting days for me looking forward. Like every day I feel sad. I'm like, one day soon. So
my sister and Tucker, I are planning.
May he live a short life as well.
Yeah, my sister and I are planning a go pee on their graves tour when they die. Like, cool. I want to wait for Jeff Sessions too. He's been gone for a while, but
that reminds me of the most progressive thing Margaret Thatcher ever did.
What did she do?
Oh, she made the first gender neutral bathroom in England when they buried her.
Oh. God. Wait, what? That my brain, the gears had to turn for a second. I was like, "Well, did they bury her in a bathroom?" That sounds odd. Yeah. No, I should make my way over to England too. All right.
Oh, any chance I get.
Rest in the fact that Tucker is gone and that your family is safe for one more day or a few more days. Who's going to replace him? I don't know. It was Kilmeade for a second, and that was hilarious.
Oh my God, Brian Kilmeade. Like the man who has less brain cells than like you and I asleep put together.
Oh man, I really don't know who could replace him. Before we go, who's the next one? If Tucker isn't able to get on anything, like who replaces him? I don't think anybody there could. I think Fox is trying to go like a Fox business, like just be still right leaning.
Center right again.
Yeah, they want to go back to center right. I think. I think that's
which
their
they've
plan.
never really been, but I think that they have nostalgia for an era that never was.
I think they want to go
like
to
they
it.
think they used to be center right. Yeah,
like you can manipulate Hannity and Ingram, but he actually believes his shit. Like, I think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think he
does,
believes, dude. No, he doesn't though. Too, he believes the like literature, like he believes the policy.
He believes in Ayn Rand. That's his base
propaganda. The propaganda of it, and like the fact that he's like your guy who's like representing you. Like he knows that's a shtick. We heard it earlier. Like that's a character.
Yeah.
Does he believe those racist, horrible things that like are from Reddit boards at these days in their popularity? Yeah. Does he actually believe that he's a man of the people that's like representing your voice? No, he doesn't.
No.
And I think that who can replace him? I don't know if there is anybody.
I don't think there is. I think he is, like I said at the beginning, not the greatest propaganda since like right-wing propaganda since Goebbels. And like, I don't think there isn't like nobody in media that is doing that we at least are aware of. Maybe there's someone behind the scenes that is like the best.
Oh, there's probably
propaganda,
sure,
yeah, but like, who's a TV personality that has the charisma of Donald Trump? Kind of. I was up there, but like,
he knows the
smart.
Hogs.
Yeah, he knows. Like he knows what to say. Like there is nobody that has the same charisma as Don. It's so weird because he's so unlikable of a person. Or is he?
One thing to end on though is I actually know how Tucker got his start in media. Do you?
Wasn't it MSNBC or no? I know that's where he was
his political career. When he was, I'm not sure what news group he was working for. It was one of the big three, but he was like not an intern, but like a fellow, that kind of thing. And it was the O.J. Simpson trial, and somebody turned in and goes, "Can you get somebody on the air that is an expert in criminal justice and O.J.?" And he said, "Yeah, I can do it." And they said, "You're an expert?" And he said, "Yeah." And then he bullshitted it for the next like 3 weeks, being the OJ expert, having no expertise on either one of those things. I forgot about that. That's how he got his start on camera in media.
He capitalized on a woman and another man's death. What a picture perfect of an example of that person. Like,
and the racism that was associated with that trial too. By the way, he hyped that up. Like, I know OJ was guilty, but like there was plenty of racism going around about black people in general at the time, and he hyped that shit up too. So he built his career on lies and racism. Shock.
Yeah. Did he think OJ was he being racist when he was talking about OJ?
I mean, yeah, there was the this is typical,
sure. I'm sure it was.
Whistles.
Like, I just know that I remember OJ saying, "I'm not black, I'm OJ." I'm like, that's so.
It was a different time.
It was a different time. And where Tucker Carlson got his start, everyone, and then now we're here, 7, almost 30 years later, practically. Like, that's
almost
insane.
30 years.
We've been dealing with him for 30 years. Hopefully we won't have to deal with him that well. Maybe he just does an Alex Jones or Joe Rogan and has his own pod. I hope he goes a popular podcast route where it's like 10 million listeners and that's it. Like,
I hope he goes, okay, listeners, this is what I genuinely hope before wishing death or doing anything horrible on somebody. I hope he goes to bed tonight and he's visited by 3 ghosts.
Yes.
And those ghosts explain to him all the mistakes of his life. And then he wakes up the next morning and goes, "It's Christmas morning." And,
because he's been in a coma for 9 months.
He's been in a coma.
Now it's Christmas. Those ghosts scared him so bad he fucking just passed the fuck out for 9
And
months.
then he just does a tour of like right-wing apologism, just like, I'm sorry.
I mean, that's what
I'm sorry.
Wallace did at one point. Like he was like a big segregationist, and then turned his life around or something like that, and became a pro like anti-racist person or something like.
George Wallace is
George Wallace. Yeah. It was like insane. But that's not Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson.
No.
And for that
Like I
matter,
said,
honestly, George Wallace can go fuck themselves.
It would take it would take literary level, biblical level of ghosts intervening, like angelic presence. Like it would
just like, we're out of ghosts, God. We got to start killing some people to make more ghosts. We got to get into Tucker. God just starts does another Noah flood just to get enough ghosts to get to Tucker.
It's raining, just like full. It's a Wonderful Life, just like.
Oh my God. Well,
Jimmy Stewart.
All right, everyone. We're just gonna end because his career. We're gonna end like his career abruptly.
Suddenly.
Good night. Fuck you, Tucker. Bye. America the Conversation is a production of Shway Media and America the Podcast. The show was created and is hosted by Andrew Turner and Tim Philippi. The show is mixed and edited by Tim Philippi at Shway Media Studios in Austin, Texas. The show's theme song is by Timmy Two Step. For more information, please visit americatheconversation.com and shwaymedia.com. Thanks for listening.
This has been a production of Shway Media, all rights reserved. For more information, please visit shwaymedia.com.